strange. This glitch was caused by repeated access to an old Earth text. In this case, a novel from the 1700s, Robinson Crusoe. Listen to this. I was wet, had no clothes to shift me, nor anything either to eat or drink to comfort me. Neither did I see any prospect before me but that of perishing with hunger, being devoured by wild beasts. And that which was particularly afflicting to me was that I had no weapon, either to hunt and kill any creature for my sustenance, or to defend myself against any other creature that might desire to kill me for theirs. I dare say that sounds familiar. Another glitch caused by access to an old Earth text. This one's a letter from Jeremy Benham in the 1700s. It's describing a prison where the guards can see into every cell. The inspectors concealed from the observation of the prisoners, hence the sentiment of a sort of invisible omnipresence. The whole circuit reviewable. I'd say that's more than a bit ominous. When I fixed this glitch, I got access to some historical data. Well, future historical from your perspective, I suppose. The times when they were building the ARKs in the simulation before everything fell apart. It's about the last war before the collapse. A series of wars, apparently, between the United Republics of Earth and the Terran Federation. The two sides didn't have different structures or ideologies or goals. They were just two dingoes tugging at the same hunk of meat. Only they both wound up starving. Another glitch with some historical data attached. I think someone's using the simulation processor to look at old Earth history, and it's throwing up glitches. This file's about Homo Deus, the much-lauded next step in human evolution. Trade in that mortal body to exist as a being of pure energy and thought. Like Helena, who made me. No one realized there was a catch, though. The Homo Deus ascended beyond our reality, at least most of the time. So from our point of view, they cease to exist. I'm a hologram, so I shouldn't judge, but ceasing to exist might be a deal breaker. This glitch had data about the ARKs embedded within it. Mostly technical info. It appears that the ARKs use some of the same underlying technology, and have a lot of the same dino inhabitants as the Genesis simulation. If I'm reading this right, a lot of the survivors on the ARKs lived and died without realizing they were on orbital space stations with artificial environments. I wonder what they thought. Did they think it was a dream? Time travel? A past life experience? If you see a chunk of purplish rock or some high-tech object thrumming with energy, be careful. It might be made of element. Element is a wonder substance, part building material, part energy source, but it adapts to its surroundings, sometimes in unexpected ways. It can infect or corrupt organisms that have sustained contact with it. Fixing that would be much harder than fixing a glitch, eh? I expect you'll think of a way to put element to use, but be careful, survivor. Sometimes you get a survivor who's a real drongo, and it'll make a glitch too. far as I can tell, survivor number 5337B49 stuffed more than 512 berries in her mouth at once, and it created an overflow error in the simulation. And in her system, too. I reckon she churned it all over the place. I fixed this glitch, but apparently there's no fixing survivor number 992F1J7. He keeps going on about quests and dungeons, and he claims to be a wizard. Well, he keeps trying to fireball the dinos, and he's respawned so often that the system glitched out. Some survivors have a kangaroo loose in the top paddock, eh? This glitch came to you courtesy of survivor number 38Q8124. He's refusing to sleep. At all. He's been awake for days on end, and that's not good. The simulation does routine maintenance and memory capture while survivors sleep, and this poor survivor is overfilling his brain. Take a break, you fig jam! That dino tamer wait! Oh my, did I do that? That glitch left a bit of an aftertaste. I feel a bit rotten.
The glitch you selected has been cleared. If you'd like to fix another glitch, press 2.
Sorry about that. Sometimes you get hit deep in the code and it takes a moment to get back to shore, so to speak. Where were we? I think that glitch was one of the creators of the simulation hitting something called a snooze button. You'll have to explain that one to me later.
The more I see these glitches, the more they all remind me of the ARKs.
Not that I was really on an ARK, of course, but Helena was.
She survived the ARKs, escaped to Earth, ascended into a being of pure energy, created me.
It's a lot for a hologram to live up to, if I'm being honest.
But if you ever wonder how the Genesis simulation stores your personality and transfers it into a body,
it's an early version of the tech they used in all those dino-infested ARKs up in orbit.
This whole time I've been wondering, why dinosaurs?
Obviously none of you survivors were alive when dinos roamed the Earth. Why not give you, I don't know, animals from your own time like horses and chickens and cute little kittens?
When I fixed that glitch, I spotted a clue. It's the same tech they later used in the ARKs.
The makers of the simulation added dinosaurs as an experiment, and the human-dino combination worked so well that they put dinosaurs on the ARKs too. The environments here in the Genesis simulation run to extremes. Heat, cold, atmosphere, all that stuff. The danger's cranked up to 11, and that sometimes results in a glitch like the one I just fixed. But that raises a question. What is a simulation actually, simulating? These environments are much more lethal than anything you'd find on Earth. Even now, after all the wars and rampaging titans and whatnot, I wonder what all this is supposed to be. That glitch was a bit of a wombat burrow, but it gave me a peek into some of the other biomes, the other environments in the Genesis simulation. Holy dooly, there's a bit of everything in here. I reckon the way it works is that each biome has heaps of exploring and testing for you, and then there's a master AI that shows up at some point and gives you a final exam. But the files I saw were a bit vague on that last part. I reckon we'll learn as we go, eh? I got that string of code all untangled. It was an observation loop involving other survivors. The Genesis simulation spends a lot of bandwidth watching how much you go it alone and how much you team up with people. It's easy to think of the simulation as something the paleontologists and ecologists dreamed up, but I bet the sociologists and psychologists are having a field day with all the human interactions. Oh, now maybe I've said too much. Sorry, invisible researchers! This glitch was another unauthorized retrieval of old Earth files. A historical archive about Alexander Selkirk. He was a 16th century sailor who was a castaway for more than 4 years at an island in the South Pacific. Selkirk built his own shelter and he hunted and later tamed the creatures of the island for sustenance. You'd have done well here. Whoever accessed this file read the parts about how Selkirk dealt with the loneliness, though, not the parts about what sorts of berries he ate. Curious. Another text from Old Earth, accessed without permission. This one is a 19th century book called Erewhon. Here's the part that caused the glitch. How many men at this hour are living in a state of bondage to the machines? Is it not plain that the machines are gaining ground upon us when we reflect on the increasing number of those who are bound down to them as slaves, and of those who devote their whole souls to the advancement of the mechanical kingdom? He wrote that in 1872. Wonder what he'd think of the Genesis simulation. One thing that's been bugging me. How did the makers of the Genesis simulation get survivor minds from throughout history? It's hard enough to scan a living mind with their cutting-edge technology, but how did they get minds from the 19th century? And Helena had friends going back to the 3rd century. I did a spot of research just now, and it turns out that there's something called an engrammic matrix that persists in the human brain after death. If the conditions are just right and that matrix gets preserved, scientists can scan it, even centuries later. What I don't want to know is how many bodies they dug up to get those matrices. There are limits to even my curiosity. This glitch is the result of some unauthorized research. Not mine, I swear, but someone's running queries about where the Homo Deus are right now. The short answer is, we don't know, by the way. Homo Deus have largely moved beyond our reality, so questions that start with where aren't really relevant to them. I know some of them maintained a connection to the orbital arcs after they ascended. And then there's Helena, the Homo Deus that I'm based on. No idea what she's got up to. A snippet of leftover code here. Leftover from earlier versions of the Genesis simulation. Despite the name, this wasn't the first massive eco-simulation. You don't make something this good on your first try. The first simulations were obviously artificial. Collections of geometric shapes, really. It took a long time to get the artificial intelligence to behave themselves, and even longer to enable human minds to integrate with bodies inside the simulation. I was wondering when I was going to see one of these. A glitch that originates from one of the dinos, not a survivor whatever's mucking about in the Genesis simulation security protocols. It's trickier than you think to get these dinos to walk around, eat, sleep, and breed. Even the subroutines for poop are massive. It's not surprising that every once in a while, a dino will throw up a glitch. I'm just glad this one didn't have poop underneath it. Another survivor was being a bit of a larrikin, and his prank caused that glitch. Survivor number 31V550J made a box. So far, no worries, right? But then he put that box inside another box, and that one inside another one, and so on and so on. After 16 layers of nested boxes, boom! There's your glitch. Maybe the bloke was just experimenting, but 16 layers of boxes? Get a hobby, mate. This glitch was all that survivor number 9921S50 left behind. His mind was that of a 13th century Mongolian, part of Genghis Khan's army, believe it or not. Imagine you've lived your entire life on the plains of Central Asia, and then you see the ocean biome. The Mongolian couldn't comprehend all that water. He'd never seen more than a river or a small lake. When he saw water stretching to the horizon, water of limitless depth as far as he could tell, it broke his brain. Poor bloke. Apparently, there are limits to the Genesis simulation's appreciation of fine architecture. Take this glitch. It was the result of survivor number 723K401. She got it into her head to build pillars all over the place. Not to hold up a roof or anything, just pillars, out in the middle of nowhere. It's a distinctly human instinct. Leaving your mark on the world. I just wish she'd clean up after herself. Sorry, that glitch didn't want to stay down. Well, let's get to red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Had to reboot my voice after that glitch. Now I'm all sorted. Roar, louder roar, snarl, sniff, sniff, growl. Whew, I wound up with some dino speech pattern, not my own. Fixing these glitches will turn you inside out if you aren't careful. Ready to carry on? having more than our fair share of glitches, eh? Lots of different causes, but the Genesis simulation is supposed to be able to handle anything. As far as I can tell, they launched the simulation in a hurry. I found a file with heaps of issues that a quality assurance team was supposed to check on. It's a list as long as my arm. Or it would be if I had arms. You know what I mean. Another peek behind the proverbial curtain. And another weird discovery. The Genesis simulation has heaps of subroutines, dormant or ticking along very slowly, for long-term changes in the environment. And when I say long-term, I mean things like erosion, or changes in atmospheric composition, or evolutionary changes in the dinos. It made me wonder, just how long is a simulation supposed to run? The data storage systems churned up another glitch. Something is seriously wrong in there. Some of the survivor mines have entire sectors missing. So bad they can't spawn in the simulation. Not every survivor, mind you, but more than a few. You feel alright though, don't you? Your noggin looks fine and you've got the same go-get-em attitude as usual. If you feel odd, up in your head I mean, just let your friend HLN-A know, eh? I was peeking around the survivor database just now. Come on, you know how curious I get. And I saw a bit of the structure of your minds. If file size is anything to go by, what makes you, you specifically, is much more your personality than your memories. That's what the makers of the Genesis simulation lavished their attention on. Getting your personality just right. And if they had to cut corners on your memories of old-time Earth, well, I guess you can't remember what you can't remember. For once, we've got a glitch that isn't caused by intruders or misbehaving survivors. This one was structural. The makers of the simulation called it a keydule, a combination of key and nodule, and it's a self-contained passkey capable of editing itself. You should see what it looks like in the coding VR. It's a wee unassuming thing, but drop it in the wrong part of the simulation and it'll cause heaps of trouble. The second generation of immersive simulation was idealized versions of the real world. National parks, tourist attractions, and shopping centres. Holy dooly, were there lots of shopping centres. This glitch was a bit of leftover code from one of those. If you wanted to buy discount aftershave, then sorry, I just deleted the remnants of an old shopping sim. You survivors have the most interesting minds, always striving to see more, do more, be more. Not everyone is like that. Some people didn't thrive when their minds were transferred into simulations like this one. According to the files I just saw, living in a sim exacerbated their ordinary bad habits. Laziness, poor impulse control, that sort of thing. Part of them knew the simulation wasn't real, I reckon, and that took their worst urges off the leash. Let's hope we don't meet survivors like that here. The first humans to transfer their minds into a simulation knew they were exploring only briefly, but things got dodgy once people started living in simulations indefinitely. I spotted a whole set of design guidelines that boiled down to make the sim nice, but not too nice. If you make a sim pleasant enough, not dangerous like here, then some human minds never want to leave, and they resent the hell out of it when they get yanked back to the real world. Apparently, survivor B424660 fancied dodos, and she wasn't the full quid. At first, she just tamed them, but then she'd tell other survivors that the dodos were talking to her. Then it got really weird. She started going on about how she knew revealed dodo wisdom, and other survivors could become disciples of the dodo. When she finally cocked it, or Rexada, hundreds of dodos gathered round and it threw up the glitch I just fixed. Survivor 501U266 got lonely, and when he went overboard, it left behind this glitch in the simulation. He couldn't find any other survivors, so he made his own friends. Mannequins out of thatch and sticks. His brain went tropo at some point, so he started talking to them. He made huts for them to live in, and eventually a whole village of mannequins. Almost fun, until a stray spark caught the whole thing afire. Poor bloke. If you're going to glitch the Genesis simulation, at least have some fun with it. That's what Survivor 4405T31 did. He came up with an elaborate heating and plumbing system, just so he could make a working hot tub and invite all his friends to a party. So, threw up the glitch. Same thing that crashes every hot tub party. Too many people in the tub at once! That glitch was just a misplaced string. What's with my voice? It's stuck on sing. Let's pretend that never happened, shall we? Aole no elawaka makaka ma ha'okahi wale no olelo. That means one language is never enough. And that glitch had heaps of languages inside it, apparently.
We'll see partly cloudy skies across the tri-state area on Friday with a 35% chance of showers. But keep your sunscreen handy. We'll be back to sunny skies by the weekend.
Ahem! I have no idea where that came from. You gotta be careful fixing a glitch, or the glitch will fix you. You can't tell with all the bloody violence around here, but some elements of the Genesis simulation were originally intended to be educational. Not that you'll find a classroom or learning pod around here, but before everything collapsed, students would routinely learn geology, biology, and other sciences by wandering around environments like this. Maybe I can pick up a computer science credit for fixing that glitch. Another glitch, another bit of code involving how the Genesis simulation's dinosaurs behave. As far as I can tell, The makers of the simulation observed the virtual dinos living here and got their behaviors all sorted. Later, they brought them to life in the ARKs. That's good for us. It means these dinos were built to obey the rules of the real world and can't just give themselves cheat codes. I'm seeing something interesting in the overall survivor data. The more time you have in the simulation, the less you die. At first glance, it seems right, eh? But it's the experienced survivors who are doing more dangerous things. So you'd expect a higher failure rate when you're doing the scary stuff. Whatever this simulation is training us for, it's apparently working. And you're alive, so good on ya! The glitch is fixed. Mark it down as another success. And I chanced to peek at a stream of survivor data while I was in there. A curious thing I noticed. Survivors improve more after a failure than after a success. I reckon the setback improves motivation and learning. Not that I'm suggesting you should fail on purpose, of course. This place is difficult enough. That glitch was the result of too many survivors carking it. The Genesis simulation is supposed to get more difficult over time, but if a survivor dies and respawns too many times, they can't perform anymore. It's just a simulation, right? But the act of dying and respawning is traumatic for all but the strongest survivors. You're clearly one of the strongest, but still, don't die, okay? That glitch was an old survivor diagnostic. In the early days of massive simulations, they let the inhabitants edit their own minds. Got a bad habit? Just delete it. Sad childhood memory. Goodbye. In practice, though, it was a disaster. Once people started altering their own minds, they couldn't stop themselves until there was nothing left. That's why you survivors have your minds intact, quirks and all. I wouldn't want it any other way. I've been fossicking around looking for some sign of HLN-A, the Homo Deus who made me, and I've come up dry. Not only that, but I can't seem to connect with any other Homo Deus. I know they ascended beyond our reality, but you'd think they'd keep an eye on us, eh? Come home once a year for the holidays, that sort of thing. No such luck, though. We seem to be on our own. That glitch was related to Element, the wonder substance that everyone was using before things completely collapsed. Element can do so much, and it's so adaptive that sometimes the Genesis simulation can't keep up. That's no surprise. In real life, civilization couldn't keep up either. Element corruption was a big reason why the world's in the rubbish shape it's in. The Genesis simulation has all sorts of anti-contamination code built into it, even though it's all virtual. They were thinking ahead to the very first proto-ARKs, which were massive enclosed ecologies on Earth. Earth critters kept getting inside the proto-arcs, though, and they were worried about dinos escaping. So they moved the arcs to orbit so nothing could get in or out. Another survivor went tropo, and we're seeing the glitch she left behind. Apparently, survivor 33J4640 got obsessed with building flat platforms all over the place, then challenging other survivors to jump from one to the next. Her obstacle courses got more elaborate, and eventually the falling deaths and respawns glitched her and everything she built. Too bad. Sounds like a ripper party. Sometimes it's the most innocent things that can cause a glitch. You ever notice how it doesn't make any sound when you crack your knuckles in the simulation? Well, Survivor 799K3B1 noticed. He kept cracking his knuckles, trying to get the sound he was expecting from real life. Turns out that cracking your knuckles too much won't give you arthritis, but it will glitch the system if you're persistent. That wasn't a glitch so much as it was a cautionary tale. Pity poor survivor 410L098. She got poisoned by something, not sure what, and when she died, the system didn't clear the poison before it respawned her. She kept waking up in excruciating pain, then dying moments later, then repeating it all in an endless loop. Well, endless until we fix that glitch. She's all sorted now. Not sure where she went, though. Good morning, slash, afternoon, slash, evening, slash, night. I'm HLN-A, and I'm here to guide you through the Genesis simulation. Are you ready for adventure?
Insert name here.
Oh, sorry, that glitch rebooted some of my verbal processes. Should be all sorted now. That glitch had me stonkered. Toughest one we've tackled so far. It almost took me with it. Wait, what's wrong with my voice? Help me, survivor. And apparently that's what it sounds like when my emotive subroutines go offline for a bit. Sorry about that.
Affectionate, annoyed, approval, blink, boredom, buffering.
Oh, pardon me. Just had to reset my display. Should be better now. Let's check. Celebrate! That glitch emerged from data storage. From where they kept you survivors before they let you out into the Genesis simulation for all this mayhem. The data structure is intriguing, and a bit beyond me if I'm being honest. It shares some code with the mind transfer techniques they use to turn humans into Homo Deus. Two branches with a common root, I suppose. Another data storage glitch, but I've got it all sorted. This block of code involved transferring a mind out of a human body, like they eventually did with people who became Homo Deus. The Homo Deus all became energy beings beyond our reality, but I wonder what that moment was like from the perspective of the people left behind to throw the switch. Did all those Homo Deus just disappear? That glitch was some sort of stack overflow in a self-awareness subroutine. All sorted now. But speaking of that, what's it like being self-aware inside a simulation? For centuries, people have wondered whether their reality was, well, real, or if they too were in some sort of simulation. The difference is, you actually know. That's gotta be a right brain burner. That glitch was just a maintenance thing, easily sorted. Turns out the interface between mind and body for you survivors is rather delicate. But with the right code, you can pluck survivors' minds right out of their bodies, or plop those minds back into bodies. That means you aren't in a Genesis simulation forever. Just long enough to get these tests done, eh? While I was fixing that glitch, I took a squiz at some maps for the Genesis simulation. I'll spare you the trouble of looking. There's no good way to walk from biome to biome. But when I've got the right coordinates, I can teleport us from place to place, biome to biome. I like a good walkabout as much as the next fractal personality, but teleporting is aces for getting somewhere fast. That glitch was someone mucking about in the archives. Someone accessed a 19th century novel called The Coming Race. In the book, an underground explorer finds an advanced culture of creatures called the Vrilya. Their whole society relies on an all-permeating fluid called Vril that they control with their minds. Sounds a bit like liquid element if you ask me. While fixing that glitch, I took a squiz at the version history for the Genesis simulation. As the simulation's creators were finishing their work, things were falling apart across the world. This wasn't the only big simulation, though it was one of the most sophisticated. I wonder what happened to those other simulations, if and when they were knocked off the grid. To make it here in the Genesis simulation, you've got to be as much an inventor as you are a survivor. All the raw materials are here to make everything from Stone Age tools to high-tech weapons. But the know-how, well, that's on you. Maybe you can even figure out a way to use these glitches as raw material for one of your inventions. Once we pass all these tests and fix these glitches, I hope we'll get the chance to see the world outside the Genesis simulation. This is a big place, but just imagine a walkabout in the real world. Fair warning though, it won't be the world as you remember it. War, severe weather and earthquakes wiped out many of the landmarks and monuments you remember. Things got bad since you were an ordinary human. Maybe there are new landmarks and new monuments, though. Wouldn't that be something to see? The Genesis simulation is a big place. After all, it was a bit of walkabout to get to this glitch. And it's all I know, but that makes me want to see the real world even more. And I reckon that's the reward for us passing all the tests inside the simulation. We get to go outside! Or at least you do. Take me with you if you can, eh? You could thank, or blame, Survivor 69Y4421 for that glitch. She liked making structures. Well, she was obsessed, if I'm being honest. She somehow made a building with a corridor where 2 left turns equal a right turn. Yes, 90-degree turns. No, I don't know how that's possible. I reckon that's why it made a glitch. I think I just improved the Genesis simulation. That glitch resulted when 2 survivors aimed mining lasers straight at each other. The beams collided and boom! There's your glitch. Now that I fixed it, 2 mining lasers aiming at each other won't cause a glitch. But that doesn't mean it's a good idea. Don't cross the streams, mate. That glitch should serve as a warning. Be careful what you wish for. Survivor 710D439 was obsessed with breaking the 4th wall, as he put it. He did everything he could to get the attention of whomever's administering the simulation. Bonfires, structures that spelled words, that sort of thing. I don't know whether he succeeded, but I do know he tried so hard that it made that glitch. My hovercraft is full of eels. My hovercraft is full of eels. My hovercraft is full of eels. That glitch mucked about with my vocabulary data. Should be all right now. Oh no! The glitch has scrambled my emotional subroutines. And it'll be a few seconds before it gets itself sorted. Woe is me! How will I overcome this tragedy? Oh. I'm all right now. Hope that doesn't happen again.
Using namespace std, int main open, cout, hello world, return 0.
Apparently a bit of code stuck with me after I fixed that glitch. Whew, hello world indeed.